Hi everybody, this is Laura
And Arnie.
with Crazy Cool Cakes. We love poppies, and so do my dessert network friends. We've all made these wonderful poppy themed tutorials just for you. You can click on the photos now, or you can find all the links to all of these videos underneath our video. We're going to be teaching you how to hand paint this beautiful poppy field cake.
Let's go ahead and get started.
We're going to start with a nice blank canvas. This is a dummy cake that I have covered in fondant. Be sure to check out my tutorial on how to cover dummy cakes. We're going to mix 2 different colors of gel food coloring in a little container. This is Leaf Green by Americolor. You can use any brand as long as it's leaf green. And I'm also going to be mixing some Juniper Green by Wilton. I love this color. We're going to add just a little bit of the Juniper Green. We're just trying to darken the leaf green just a little bit. For your project, you can of course use any shade of green that you like. We use vodka to dilute our gel food coloring. That's all we use it for. Vodka works great for hand painting cakes because it evaporates completely very quickly. For painting the green field part of this painting, I'm going to use one of my favorite brushes. This is a very nice flat but wide bristled brush, and I'm also using it just to mix my colors together very well. If you're painting on a white cake, you can always test the shade of the color on a white paper towel. Now let's start painting our beautiful green field. I'm only going to add green to the bottom, maybe 2 to 3 inches. The rest of the cake will be all sky. When I'm covering large areas with a solid color like this one, I try to make my strokes as long as possible. I pick up more color with my brush as often as I need to. Of course, you don't want to pick up too much because you don't want a bunch of color dripping all over the cake. We sped up the video here because this did take a little bit of time, but it's tons of fun. There it is, our green field. Now I'm going to be using a little bit of Wilton's Royal Blue. Not too much because we want this to be a nice pale blue sky. So make sure you dilute it really well with your vodka. For this part of the cake, I'm going to be using the same type of bristled brush, but it's just a lot wider since we're going to be covering a lot more area. When I'm painting sky over a green field like this, I like to overlap the blue just a tiny bit on top of the green. As you can see, it darkens the very top of the green shade just a little bit, and it gives the painting a really nice depth. Now I'm just covering the entire cake in this beautiful blue, and I'm going to just try to do really long strokes all the way around. I'm picking up color constantly, and I'm just going to move upward little by little till I get to the very top. Just about done. Look at that beautiful blue sky. Did you know you could hand paint cakes with just straight up airbrush color? Yep. I'm going to be using super red to paint these really bright red poppies. To paint a poppy in abstract form, I place the bristles nice and flat on my cake and I drag. You can either drag inward or outward. That's totally up to you. But just make sure that once you've started on a certain petal in a certain direction, you stay in that direction. To create or suggest petals, just simply leave a gap in between your brush strokes like I'm doing here. You can go over your previous strokes if you want to lengthen your petals. Just make sure to work quickly so that the paint doesn't dry on you. This is one way to paint a poppy. Beautiful. You'll see that this will make perfect sense once we paint the center a little bit later on. Here's another fun way to paint a poppy. Touch and drag your brush strokes yet again, this time in a circular fashion. It's okay if it looks somewhat irregular. This is what makes it beautiful. The more imperfect the edge is, the more pleasing to the eye, and the more realistic it'll look in the end. This here is one of my favorite ways to paint a poppy. Here I'm using small dragging brush strokes to create a fan shape. This shape will suggest a side view of the flower. I'm going to paint another flower using the same technique as the very first one that I did. However, it will look very different because its irregular shape will be very different. Remember to suggest petals by leaving a small gap in the outer lining. You like them so far, sweetie?
They're beautiful.
This next technique for painting a flower is pretty much the same. However, we'll be painting the petals much longer, and we'll be creating much wider gaps between the petals. This will suggest a flower that's much later in its blooming stage.
Aye, blooming stage.
I love it.
Me too.
Let's do another one, but bigger, and this one with really big irregular petals. No other flower in the world like it. This flower I'm painting here is going to be very similar to the fan-shaped flower I painted before. It'll suggest a side view, but the only difference is it'll have one long irregular petal sticking out of it. This will suggest a very open flower. Very cool. Let's see what we have so far.
That's really nice.
Can you guess what shape this will be? Let's create another big, beautiful side view of a poppy. This technique is simple and one of my favorites. I start off with an almost perfect circle and then just widen a few of the edges. That was fun. Let's create some more flowers following the previous techniques and see if you can imagine what they'll look like once they have their centers. Now I'm going to start creating some smaller versions of these flowers to fill in some of the empty spaces of sky. I love these little flowers, they're just so adorable.
Yes, they are.
Don't worry about your flowers touching. Remember, it's a poppy field and this will actually make it look more natural. Now tell me you're not relaxed watching this. It's even more relaxing to do it. Do you like painting cakes, sweetie?
Yeah, I find it very relaxing.
Sweetie, you got too relaxed.
I'm sorry, baby.
This feels like the right amount of flowers for my cake. Feel free to make as many as you want for yours. To add the centers and the pedestals to my poppies, I'm going to use black airbrush color. I'll also be using a number 8 paintbrush which has nice firm bristles. For my fan-shaped flowers, I'm going to start off by painting a half circle right in the center and at the very bottom of the flower. This is the pedestal or the bottom of the center of the flower, and this is how it looks like on the outside. Next, I'm drawing a very small little dome shape right underneath the pedestal. This is where the stem will be attached. Okay, I think that's all my fan-shaped flowers. For this larger flower with the white petals, I'm going to paint lots and lots of little tiny brush strokes to try and mimic the stamen at the center of the flower. For the almost perfect circular flowers, I'm just going to add a little tiny circle in the middle. If you paint a little offset dome shape in these little circular flowers, it makes the flower appear as if it's slightly tilted to the side. So pretty, don't you think, baby?
I'm blown away.
On some of the larger flowers, you can actually create lobes for the centers of the flowers. Makes it look even more beautiful. For these large irregular flowers that have the petals sticking way out, I like to paint the centers off center. That way the petals look like they're really hanging out there. On some of these, you can paint the centers really narrow. This gives the appearance that the face of the flower is pointing upward. Here's another version of our fan-shaped flower. Again, we're painting the pedestal in a way so that it looks like you're seeing it from the outside. I think this one's my favorite on this cake. Here's another one with 3 lobes at the center. So pretty. Now we're going to paint some poppy buds, and for this we're going to need some pure juniper green. Poppy buds look like cute little acorns in abstract form. These are so fun and simple to paint. You can paint as many of these as you'd like and in different sizes. Use them to fill in any empty spaces on your cake. On a few of these, you can draw a little thin leaf starting to open up. I'm going to draw this one upside down so when I add the stem, it'll look like it's hanging. I'm pretty happy with that amount of buds on my cake. Using the same color, we're now going to draw some beautiful grass blades. The more grass, the more beautiful it looks. I'm dipping my brush into the color almost every single time. For a nice grass effect, push the bristles of the brush up against the cake near the bottom. And as you move upward, pull away from the cake to give you a nice thinner line. Okay, so you get the gist of it. I'll finish the rest. Is that beautiful or what? Now I want a really dark green color for the stems, so I'm going to dump the rest of the black into the rest of my juniper green and mix it up really well. I'm going to test my color before I go near my cake. Perfect. Painting the stems is a lot of fun. For a natural and realistic look, don't paint a straight line. Make sure the stems are nice and dark and filled in. I like to create all the stems for the lower flowers first. Those are pretty easy to figure out. You just create a stem from the flower all the way down. It's the ones at the top that we have to put a little more thought into. Get as artistic as you'd like with your stems. For the flowers that are a little higher up, you decide whether you want the stem to go in front or behind the flowers underneath them. Now we'll do the stems for the buds the same way. Here's my cute little hanging bud. Draw the stem so that it looks like the bud's drooping down. Sure looking beautiful so far. Can you guys catch the flower that I forgot to draw the stem on? Right in front of my face and I still missed it.
I think we both missed it.
Okay, the last little touches. We're just gonna add a few little leaves here and there to some of the stems and we're done. A beautiful hand-painted cake. There's nothing like it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye, everybody.
We'll see you later.
Don't forget to check out all these other wonderful poppy-themed tutorials. You can find all of the links underneath our video.